get started, thank you. Just wanted to thank everyone for coming out, trekking through this weather. We made it, we're here. Want to thank all vendors, want to thank our dignitaries for being here, want to thank the staff, and most importantly, I want to thank the community for coming out today, despite, again, not the pleasant weather. So thank you. We are here for the official ribbon cutting ceremony for the community center in Lee District. There's a quote that says, "We so often become focused on the finish line that we fail to enjoy the journey." Most of you have been through a journey with us. You've shared your time, your resources, your energy, your contacts, and again, we just want to say thank you. I'm sure many of you have heard stories about the journey, and I'm sure some of our dignitaries and some of our members have stories about this journey. And with that, I want to start by introducing Congressman Gerald Connolly. He is serving his 7th term in the U.S. House of Representatives from Virginia's 11th District, which includes Fairfax County, Prince William County, and the city of Fairfax. Prior to his election to Congress, he served 14 years on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, including 5 years as chairman. Throughout his career, protecting and growing Northern Virginia's economy has been his top priority. In Congress, Congressman Connolly has played a key role in securing federal dollars for transportation improvements in Northern Virginia, including completion of the Fairfax County Parkway, widening the Prince William County Parkway, providing ongoing support for Rail to Dulles, and securing the annual federal commitment of $150 million for the regional metro system. Congressman Connolly is a senior member of the House Committee on Oversight and Reform and serves as the chairman of the Subcommittee on Government Operations. In this role, he is responsible for shaping government-wide policy for a broad range of issues, including federal workforce and federal agency oversight, federal procurement and information policy, national drug policy, regulatory reform, and the United States Postal Service, the United States Census Bureau, and the District of Columbia. He also serves on the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, using his extensive background in foreign policy, including as a senior staff member on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He has become a leading voice on foreign assistance reform, war powers, embassy security, and democracy promotion abroad. He received a Master of Arts in Public Administration from Harvard University in 1979. He also received a BA in Literature from Maryknoll College in Glen Ellen, Illinois. Please put your hands together and welcome Congressman Connolly.
Yeah. Good morning. Isn't it nice to be back in person? So today, we're celebrating a new center in our community. And I think it's particularly poignant and important as we hope we're emerging from a pandemic. It's been a tough 2.5 years. 1 million Americans have died from COVID-19. And probably half the population got it. We've had a quarantine, we've had a lockdown. And if you turn the clock back 2 years ago, this very day, 2 years ago, we were losing jobs at the rate of millions a week. We were approaching 20% unemployment. The gross economy, gross domestic product, was collapsing in negative territory. Small businesses especially were collapsing by the millions. 2 years later, today, here in Fairfax, I believe, Jeff, our unemployment rate is 2.6%. 2.4 it went down. 2.4%. Incredible recovery. And that means we actually have more opportunities than we have skilled labor. This community center is going to serve multiple purposes, one of which is virtually an apprenticeship program. We know from other people's experience That's a great way to provide the skilled labor we need in various trades and industries. And partnering with our community college, we can amplify that and make sure we're identifying need and matching it with skills. This community center is going to do that. It's also going to bring us together as a community, a place where we can be safe, a place where we can recreate, a place where we can network and meet. And every community needs that, especially after the pandemic, where we want the opportunity to be together again, to reconnect, to reassess as a community what we've gone through and where we want to be headed. And I salute our local supervisor, Rodney Lusk, in helping make today possible, and his predecessor, the chairman of the board, and also former lead district supervisor, Jeff McKay, for their vision and seeing today come to completion with their partners in the private sector, and of course the leadership of our county executive and his wonderful staff that serve the Fairfax community countywide. So it's a privilege to be here. I can't wait for cutting this ribbon. Congratulations to everybody who made today possible, and please stay safe. God bless you all. Thank you. It now gives me great pleasure to hand the mic over to the chairman of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, who has steered the ship of state through very difficult waters during a pandemic and done it really as if it were effortless, and it wasn't. And we're so lucky to have Jeff McKay as the chairman of our county, who has really allowed us to come through in better shape and with a renewed sense of purpose, in no small part due to his vision and to his leadership. Give it up for our great chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Jeff McKay.
Thank you very much, Jerry, and good morning. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you this morning. I am not in charge of the weather today. I'm not sure who was, but if anyone was, raise your hand. Didn't think so. I want to start by first announcing that my colleague, Supervisor Dan Stork, meant to be here today and wanted to share with you all that he could not make it today because his fourth grandchild in 3 years was born, and he is out visiting his new grandchild out in the western part of the United States, but wanted to show his support and make sure that you knew that. There's also 3 individuals that I want to draw special attention to and thanks before I share a few comments with you. And of course, Pallas Washington is one of those. You all know who Pallas is. She's been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure we got to this point today with the county. Dave Bowden, who is probably not here. Dave Bowden retired from the county a number of years ago with the Park Authority. And I'll circle back to why Dave Bowden is important in a moment. And Tom Fleetwood. Tom Fleetwood is here, head of our housing department. Tom, raise your hand and wave. Tom Fleetwood. Without those 3 individuals, we literally would not be standing here today. Just a little bit of history, and those of you who were here when Supervisor Lusk hosted many folks from the public and private sector not too long ago. Before this event, I want to share a little bit of history with you that I shared that night, because this is personal to me. The chairman of the Board of Supervisors gets an opportunity to do a lot of ribbon cuttings. Jerry knows this all too well. Literally 1 a week on most weeks, sometimes multiples a week. None has been more important to this chairman than this one today. For those of you who know me, you know I grew up here. This is my community. I grew up in Woodlawn. I went to Woodlawn Elementary School, Walt Whitman Middle School across the street from here. I played in, I rode my bikes. My best friends were the people who lived in this community. In Audubon, in Buckman Road, in Woodlawn, the kids I grew up with. And so this is very personal and emotional for me to be here today. Because when we were growing up, we thought our communities were just like all the other communities in the county. We had a safe childhood. We had access to opportunities that we thought were pretty good, until we noticed that those opportunities were far lacking compared to other parts of Fairfax County. And I didn't realize that until much later in life, that we didn't have some of the opportunities that other kids who grew up in this fantastic county had. And when I was lead district supervisor, we did a lot of work to try to bring equity and opportunity to parts of the county that for many times felt like they were left behind and didn't have those opportunities. This particular community, I remember like yesterday, when representatives from Voice and some of the other nonprofits in the community had me have a dialogue with some of the folks who lived in Audubon almost 10 years ago to this day. About the lack of opportunities they had, why their kids weren't participating in after-school activities, why they wanted somewhere safe to go to after school for enrichment and for opportunity, that they were stuck in many cases in their homes with lack of access to opportunity because we weren't putting the investments and the opportunities literally in their community for them to be able to succeed in. 10 years later, we struggled. I had the Park Authority, I had county staff looking for every available opportunity to purchase property in this community to bring athletic, recreational amenities to people who lived in Audubon, Murray Gate, and Buckman Road. We knocked on every door. We talked to every business owner. We talked to every landowner. And we slowly assembled money every chance we could get to try to make something happen in this community. And every time we talked to someone, there was a reason why it couldn't happen. And Dave Bowden from the Park Authority and his folks literally met with every property owner anywhere within a mile of this property to try to get an athletic field, which is what we wanted to start with. And so imagine to our surprise when this amazing opportunity dropped from above literally into our hands, that we got word that the Mount Vernon Racquet Club, which I was in many times as a kid, I can remember the tennis courts that were here like it was yesterday, but closed off from most people in the community, a membership club, that they were closing their doors and we had an opportunity to seize in that moment, take advantage of and purchase this property so that kids and future generations who live in these communities immediately surrounding here would have a place they could safely walk to, opportunities that they could take advantage of, enrichment in their lives, particularly maybe even change the trajectory of their life because of an opportunity that they had in this facility. All throughout that process, we're working on our One Fairfax policy in Fairfax County, where equity is a driver of the decisions we make. And I can tell you standing here today, if that policy was not in place, and Jerry knows this all too well, it's difficult to get 6 votes on the Board of Supervisors to do something of this magnitude. And if that equity policy was not in place, that directly pointed to the need to purchase this property, we probably wouldn't be here today. And so that policy in Fairfax County that I am so proud of, that puts equity at the center of every decision we make, is going to make opportunities like this one today more prevalent throughout the county. And we are going to make investments in communities and children and lift them up and give them to access to a much better life moving forward. And really, that's one of the singular most important things we can do in county government. And so it has been a journey, a 10-year journey to get here. I want to thank the last Board of Supervisors who invested a lot of time and money in this property. The current Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Alcorn from the Hunter Mill District, has joined us here as well today. The vision and work of Supervisor Lusk on the workforce component of this building, that's teamwork. And that's the teamwork that's necessary to get to where we are today. And then lastly, I want to thank the community, because the kids that I met with 10 years ago are probably off somewhere else now. They didn't have the doors of this building open to them. And the community that's here now does, and future communities and future generations do. And so there's a whole lot of people not here today, not even born yet, that will have an amazing opportunity to walk through this door and have things that many kids before them did not have in these immediate communities. And for that, we are all better. We are better as a county, and we are better for doing that. In this community here, I want to thank all of you who are here from this community, and know that the county is here to support you, to support your families, and to support your quest for success in an equitable fashion. And I'm so proud of that. So thank you all for being here today. A really exciting day for all of us in this corner of the county. And I can't wait to come back after today and see all the youth and all the opportunities that are taking place within these doors that will make all of us smile. So can't wait to come back and see this place activated and see our kids taking advantage of these opportunities that are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those words, Chairman McKay. Up next, we have David Levine, President and CEO of Good Shepherd Housing and Family Services. David Levine advances supportive affordable housing in his community, working to make affordable housing a reality for low-income working families and individuals in southeastern Fairfax County. Before joining Good Shepherd Housing in 2009, David was a deputy director with the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless based in Rockville, Maryland. Earlier in his career, David worked for many years in the finance and housing sectors at E-Trade, Fannie Mae, and Salmon Smith Barney in New York. David serves on the Fairfax County Affordable Housing Advisory Council, the South County Leadership Council, and the boards of the Northern Virginia Affordable Housing Alliance and the Fairfax County-based Alliance for Human Services. David earned his bachelor's in economics from the University of Michigan and his master's in economics finance from the University of Pennsylvania. Well, please join me in welcoming David Levine.
Well, thank you, Letitia. Hearing that, it reminds me how old I am. So, but in any event, thank you, Letitia. But good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Levine, CEO of Good Shepherd Housing, and I have the great good fortune today of introducing our Lee District Supervisor, Rodney Lusk. Since 1999, Good Shepherd Housing has managed and owned affordable housing units in the Colchester town community right next door here. And today we own 50 housing units in Colchester, making us the largest single owner in the community. We take our responsibilities in Colchester seriously and have been a good steward, property manager, leader, and advocate for the entire community. And you know, back in the day, Colchester was neglected, ignored, and frankly, looked down upon. And here's a quick story. When I visit my small hometown in the middle of Michigan, and that's right, it's in the middle of the mitten, I fly through Detroit Metro. When I walked through Detroit Metro a couple years back, I noticed shops selling T-shirts that had the line, Detroit versus everybody. And I thought then we should make a T-shirt that read, Colchester versus everybody. That's the way it felt through the years. But recently I've seen a lot of good, remarkable, and positive changes in Colchester. And today, this community center will be a catalyst for even better change in the future. Our work at Good Shepherd Housing in Colchester has intersected with that of Rodney Lusk in many ways. Through the pandemic, Rodney and his office organized much-needed food distribution events in the community. Rodney came out to our movie night out events. In fact, he selected the Black Panther to be shown at one of them. I think he's a real big fan of that movie. Yeah. And just last weekend, Rodney was with us hauling trash out of Little Hunting Creek. I won't even tell you about half the things we pulled out of that creek, but it was pretty remarkable. But Rodney has been a large reason for the good changes at Colchester. I also want to acknowledge what then Lee District Supervisor, now Chairman, Jeff McKay, had done for the community too. Both our supervisors worked to make our new Lee District Community Center a reality for the community. So I'll say this about Rodney. He is authentic. That's the word that comes to my mind. Rodney feels a commitment to our community, a real and authentic need to engage with our residents that you rarely see in other elected officials. He understands their struggles, given his own life story, and knows that they can reach new heights and succeed given the right chances in life. So on behalf of our Colchester residents and all our residents living around the community center, I want to thank you, Supervisor Lusk, for giving us all a new start. And so it is my honor to welcome to the mic our Lee District Supervisor, Rodney Lusk.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? So I want to say thank you to David for that very kind introduction. Very kind. So I've got to say, I've been in office now for 2.5 years. But today, I feel I've been waiting for this day since I got here. This community center is a physical embodiment, really a monument to the county's values. When I think about what this community center represents and the possibilities that it will be unlocking for our region, it is not really possible to start that conversation without beginning with Chairman Jeff McKay. As lead district supervisor, as we heard, not only did Jeff have the foresight to acquire this property, but also to designate it for redevelopment as a community center, and to acknowledge that this is something that this community so desperately needs. As the author of the county's One Fairfax policy, which he did mention, I can say with certainty that we would not be standing here today celebrating this achievement without the leadership of Chairman Jeff McKay. So thank you, Jeff, for what you've done. I also could not go further without thanking my former boss, my mentor, and my friend, Congressman Gerry Conley. I could probably use the rest of my time here to talk about what that friendship has meant to me, but I'll just say instead that I would not be standing here without him. Gerry shows up for us without fail, something that is demonstrated by the more than $400,000 in federal funding that he has secured for the pre-apprenticeship training that we will be offering at our center here. And I want to say thank you very much, Congressman Conley, for that commitment and support to our community. I'd also like to acknowledge another dear friend who's not here, and that's Paul Krizak. Paul serves as our delegate here in this area, and Paul led the fight in Richmond for an additional $400,000 in state funding to cover the cost of equipment and also infrastructure in our Workforce Development Center that I believe will be the beating heart of this community center. So I want to say thank you to Paul. I know he's not here, but thank you, Paul, as well. And I'll acknowledge Scott Sherville as well for his support on the Senate side in getting the funding for that. So thank you as well. It would also be difficult for me to thank all of the other partners who have been engaged with us. So I see Dr. Kress sitting here in front of me, and I met with her about 2.5 years ago. We had a conversation about the need to do more in the apprenticeship area and look for ways to help train our residents who might not go on to four-year institutions, but that might. But to have a way, a pathway for them to move into the middle class. And I just want to thank her for her commitment early on. She was one of the first people to say, yes, I will stand with you and I will help you make this a reality. So very much appreciate your support as well. Additionally, Dr. Washington from George Mason University, he is not here, has also been exceptional. So I'll acknowledge we've got a number of other partners. I'll just list a few of them. Melwood, who has their table here in the back, building momentum connected to Melwood as the operator of this center. The Northern Virginia Association of Realtors, just amazing group of folks. Arcadia Farms, the Northern Virginia Soil and Conservation District, Nova Labor. We have all the building trades who have signed on to say that they will be partners with us in this effort to train and prepare our workers for the jobs of the future. So all of these partners have helped us shape the development of this center and specifically our workforce development component. My thanks could not run more deeply. So with that, I'll say while we've had Jeff, we've had Jerry, we've had Paul, and all the partners that have gotten us started on this journey, I want to dedicate just a couple of minutes here to thank those responsible for helping us envision, craft, and ultimately deliver on the promise of this new community center. And that's the community members who call Hybla Valley and Richmond Highway home. All of you, and some of you are in this room, who call Audubon, Harmony Place, Creekside, Sequoia, Colchester Town, Gum Springs, if you call that your home, you are the real architects of this project. You're the ones who made this possible. And you're going to write the next chapter in what this center will become for this community. When I think of the community's role in building this center, I think back to a number of conversations I had as a candidate with residents from our mobile home communities who shared with me the fear and the uncertainty that they persistently face. And I heard you. I heard you loud and clear. I think of the mothers group at Audubon who took the time and initiative to organize and sit with me to help me understand the issues facing their community. I think of leaders like Carla Clure, Yolanda Earl Thompson, Adela Barrera, and others who stepped up to act as the trusted bridge between those who have been here for years and those of us who have just begun the work within their community. I think of all the residents who committed their time to programs like United Communities' Community Plus initiative, to dialogue with the county and provide feedback that is directly reflected in the programming that we're going to see here in this center. I could go on, but the point would remain the same. This center was built by the community. And looking around, you quickly realize that it truly sits at the center of it. It literally couldn't fit the definition of a community center more perfectly. So that's the message I'd like to leave you all here today. You did this. You built this. This center belongs to you. Opening the doors today is just the beginning. And I'm going to be totally and completely committed to carrying forward your vision for this site. Opening doors of opportunity and bringing new jobs to this community through our Workforce, Innovation, and Skills Hub that will call this center home, to growing the seeds that we planted together outside in the new community garden into a food cooperative that I believe will eventually redefine how our neighbors here access fresh produce, to all the recreational and community programming that will be available here year-round. I can't wait to work with all of you who call Southeast Fairfax County home to continue to build out your vision for what this center will become. You all should be so immensely proud of what you have and what you will accomplish with this site, just as I'm so proud to serve on your behalf. So with that, this is a great day for the community, and I want to say thank you to all for being a part of this opening today. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Luss, for those comments. So up next, we'll have Brian Hill, followed by Lloyd Tucker and Nicholas McCoy. Mr. Brian Hill, our county exec, needs no introduction. So if you don't know who he is, let me tell you who he is. No. I just want to say he's a transformational leader, a forward thinker with a wealth of experience that he will use to continue to build and activate the residents and the workforce of Fairfax County. So please join me in welcoming our county exec, Brian Hill.
Well, I've been called a lot of things, but I do appreciate that. And I want to say to Congressman Connolly, you said it's been a long 2.5 years. That is an understatement, sir. First and foremost, before I start with my short overview of what I'm going to say today, I want to thank Fairfax County Public Schools, Karen Keys-Gamarra for showing up. Thank you so much for being here. I also want to thank I also want to thank Delegate Mark Sickles for being here because he's a special guy. So thank you for being here, sir. And somebody told me while I was sitting up here, and he wasn't sitting next to me, but he was sitting to the left of the person next to me, that this is the first time that the Commonwealth Attorney has ever showed up to a community event. So I want to thank him. No. Think about what I'm saying. Ever. So I want to thank Steve Toscano, who's only been in the role for 2.5 years, for actually showing up to a community event. Thank you, sir, for being here. You know, I am very thrilled to be here today. It's always a privilege to work with Supervisor Lusk and the Board of Supervisors. This is a great community center, something that has been in the plans for many, many years. And now we can say it's a co-located community center and an innovation center. The county board has told us that they want to co-locate services. And with Supervisor Lusk's vision and with what we've done and what we've been able to purchase here, you are now getting a community center and a workforce innovation center. And that's under his leadership, and I thank him for that. Also, I want to thank county staff leadership. We have a joke on my floor that there's a lot of basketball talk. And I'm the best basketball player because I think I'm still in shape to play basketball. But my man, Chris Leonard, has been a pillar of strength going through this process. So I want to thank Chris Leonard and his leadership and working with Supervisor Lusk. I also want to thank Lloyd Tucker, our Neighborhood and Community Services Director, who's going to speak later. I do want to thank Lloyd. And I also want to thank Michael Beckett, because Michael will be taking over the portion of the community center. So guys, thank you so much. The people that actually do a lot of the work that we don't know about, from Capital Facilities, Tia Rayu, Allison Trezinga, and Chris Lyon. I'm not sure if they're here. Chris is here. I see Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate all the hard work. And what's even more important, what's even very important, I shouldn't say more important, we created a new department in the county about 2 years ago, and it's Economic Initiatives. And that department has basically jettisoned us to doing different things and being a little bit more creative and working with the community as well as the business and the nonprofits. And I believe Rebecca Mowdrey is somewhere in here. I want to say thank you to Rebecca Mowdrey. Thank you. Finally, I really want to thank Supervisor Lusk for his vision, his patience, his foresight, and his willingness to sometimes change. I said sometimes. He's not laughing. Okay. Okay. But I do want to say thank you to everybody coming here today. The Community Center is a wonderful representation of the opportunities we are privileged to make a reality in Fairfax County. And each and every one of you should thank our Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Lusk, and the dedicated team that is here today to move forward with this vision. Thank you so much, and I wish you all a great day. part of me doesn't always remember what I'm supposed to do. So next up, I want to introduce Lloyd Tucker, who is the Neighborhood and Community Services Director. So Lloyd, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lloyd Tucker with Neighborhood and Community Services. And first I want to start by saying, it looks like the rain let up a little bit, so that's really good, and it's a great sign. But it is really good to be gathered here today in unity and sitting together to celebrate the community. I know we're here to talk about the facility and the bricks and mortar, but truly it's been a long time coming, as the chairman mentioned, almost over 10 years with the advocacy and the mobilizing of the community back in the days with Voice. So thank you, community, for your patience and definitely for your vision as well. Just like other community centers, we do plan to provide a safe space to gather for recreation, for sports, social meetings, civic engagement, educational endeavors, community youth and adult employment opportunities, STEAM programs, science, technology, engineering, arts and math programming, digital access and learning. And after our next phase of construction, we also look forward to having early childhood education here in this facility in future build-outs. Our colleagues opened the center, our colleagues in NCS opened the center to programming in the first week of April, I believe. And kudos to them for a successful opening. And of course, with any new opening or something new and shiny in a neighborhood or community, some folks are all in to come and visit and sign their kids up. Others are like, let me find out and see, what is this all about? And is it safe for my kids and my family to participate? So I would just like to say, after a successful spring break camp and program, they've signed up multiple children as a result of the success of the spring break program. So thank you so much to our NCS staff. One of the community's many strengths is the richness of its diversity here along the Buckman Road Loop. I kind of grew up here as far as my professional career on Richmond Highway, in Gum Springs, down in Hagel Circle, up in Huntington, all along the place, and kind of grew up with a lot of familiar faces that definitely mentored me informally throughout my matriculation. But I just wanted to stress that definitely NCS respects that and will honor through service and also through the relationships, the developmental relationships that we build to provide a safe space where members of the community can definitely use their collective power. That means everybody at the table has a seat at the table, and we want to make sure that we're hearing their voices so that they can make decisions about what matters to them and what impacts them the most in this community regarding the center, programming, social matters and issues, and anything impacting them regarding growth and development in the community. So we definitely want to make sure that we're providing that space for them to come to the table and collectively be able to voice their values and their beliefs and thoughts so that they can be heard. And that's definitely overdue as well. And all of this in the pursuit of economic mobility for everyone. But in closing, I want to make sure that I thank Chairman McKay, Supervisor Lusk. I want to make sure that I thank our County Executive, Brian Hill. And I would definitely be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our colleagues from HCD, once mentioned, Tom Fleetwood. Thank you so much to you and our wonderful colleagues in Housing and Community Development. Barbara Byron for the wonderful work of pushing things through the system from DPD. Thank you so much. Also, our colleagues from DPWS, Public Works, Chris once again, and Tia and our other colleagues. FMD for making sure that we're up to code and that we have working lights and heat and everything else. Thank you so much to Jose and his team. DIT, our Department of Information and Technology, who gives us the ability to have connectivity and to ensure that we can put into action that digital access to our software and to the other technical things that Melwood and Building Momentum will be doing, as well as DFS for being a constant partner and support here. But most importantly, thank you to, once again, my colleagues. You'll see them throughout the room, most of them in the royal blue shirts. I'm a little colorblind, so it is royal blue. NCS colleagues, thank you so much for what you're doing. Crystal, Rome, Ish, everybody. Letitia, thank you so much for all of the hard work you've done. Thank you. And I apologize. I didn't do what I was supposed to do also, and that's to introduce Nicholas McCoy, our commissioner with Fairfax County. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, good morning. It's wonderful to be here today to be part of the celebration for this tremendous asset to the community. The athletic club may have seemed a bit out of the ordinary for the Fairfax County Redevelopment and Housing Authority. And while housing is the operative word in our name, our mission extends far beyond building and preserving affordable houses. It's about creating opportunities and promoting supportive environments that encourage the social, financial, intellectual, and physical well-being of our residents. Our involvement in this project is a prime example of the benefits that we can produce when public housing authorities and local governments work together to enhance our communities. When we learned that the Mount Vernon Athletic Club was up for sale, we recognized it as a critical opportunity to do just that, to enhance the county's capacity to serve the residents in the surrounding communities, and working in coordination with Supervisor Lusk, the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services, the FCRHA was very excited to be in a position to move quickly to acquire the property and then to finance, design, and coordinate the delivery of a number of essential improvements and upgrades that were much needed after 50 years. For example, we've converted some of the existing tennis courts to serve a multitude of athletic and recreation options. We've made several accessibility improvements, and we've made improvements to the building's fire safety, security, mechanical, and electrical systems. This has been a major undertaking, and I would like to take a moment to recognize some of our outstanding architects over at Grimm & Parker. I have representatives over here. Our general contractor, HIT Contracting, and our construction management team at Blue Heron Leadership Group for their work. I'd also like to thank our Fairfax County staff at the Department of Housing and Community Development, Neighborhood and Community Services, the County Attorney's Office, the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services, all for their coordination and engagement with the particulars of making the improvements. Finally, to the community for your engagement. It was absolutely tremendous and impactful to have you here from the beginning, from the initial walkthroughs to the community engagement forums that made this project as successful as it is and as it will continue to be. We're so proud to have been an instrumental role in this unifying project that will help to build stronger communities for children, adults, and families, and we look forward to its continued success. Thank you all.
All right, so finally, last but definitely not least, I want to take the time to introduce Anthony Thompson, our future. Come on. So, Anthony's a sophomore. Anthony's a sophomore at Mount Vernon High School. He is a true athlete. He plays football, he runs track, and he plays basketball. He aspires to be an anthropologist, and he also participates in George Washington University Institute of Health Education Leadership Program. He participates in the county's I program, which is educating youth through employment. He plays football with the Gum Strings team. He participates in United Communities After School program, and he loves music. He also plays the piano at his church. please welcome me. Give another round of applause to our youth, our future.
Good morning. First, I would like to acknowledge and thank Ms. Crystal for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm sure we all have heard the saying, we are a product of our environment. As a future representative of this community, I understand the importance of having access to resources, mentors, coaches, and a community committed to the development and success of their youth. I am excited that the center is opening up and is a safe and walkable distance for me and many of my friends in the community. Over the years, I've attended many programs in the county. I'm excited to know that my friends will be able to access programs without the barriers of transportation or funding. The opportunity to gain technology and other 21st century skills and knowledge that will provide an important foundation for us as we enter colleges and careers that will allow us to have successful futures. So on behalf of the youth of this community, I want to thank you for everybody for bringing this center to our community. I look forward to being a shining and proud example of Lee Mount Vernon community. Thank you.
You know what just dawned on me? The generation gap. We all have papers, we have our little speeches. Some of us were on the top of our head. The technology, he pulled out the phone and he started scrolling. So that's interesting. So thank you, Anthony. So as we wrap up this event, we're going to ask that our speakers, only our speakers for right now. We'll have other opportunities for folks to take pictures, get ready for the ribbon cutting. But prior to stepping over there, I wanted to explain the passport. As our county exec, Brian Hill, said, this is a community center that will provide a passport to opportunities. We have several vendor tables and organizations here. You have a passport. You should have received a passport. So if you haven't, please stop at the table and get one that have different agencies and organizations here to tell you about what are some of the services and programs that they offer. Upon completion of your passport, you will receive a ticket, and your ticket will be entered into a drawing, giving out several prizes, probably in the next 10-15 minutes. We'll also be available for tours and refreshments, so please, thank you again for being here. We're going to ask our speakers if you can go over to the red ribbon